Hello everyone and happy holidays. This video will probably go right up before Christmas time. So if you're watching this around Christmas, have a Merry Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, and enjoy the winter season. So as 2017 comes to a close, this year has been huge in terms of technology. Now, not only smartphone technology, but also computers and televisions and a whole lot of everything. Technology has changed this year. But today, we are going to talk about the top 10 smartphones of 2017, at least for what I believe the top 10 are. There's been a huge amount of release this year. Every big manufacturer put forth a great effort. You know, there's a lot of them that people haven't heard about, a lot of them that kind of flew under the radar, and a lot of first-time companies that actually released a pretty good product the first time around. So I'm not going to talk about all of these in depth, and I wish I had all of them sitting in front of me so I could kind of show you examples, but unfortunately I do not. Some of them I have talked about in the past, or I have used, so I can talk a little bit from experience, but we're just going to get right into it. So at number 10, I have the LG V30. So this smartphone flagship kind of got outshadowed by the Note 8 as well as the Pixel during its time of release, which was late summer. The V30 had a full screen display similar to the Pixel 2 XL, water IP68 water resistant like its little brother the G6, had the DAC for improved audio. It had two cameras, one being a wide angle lens, which is special to LG phones, and they introduced something called, it was like a little slider bar or a touch bar on the top, which was on the V20, which now was like a little floating menu in the V30. So there wasn't really anything super stand out about the phone. It was really good, although it was reviewed very well. It just unfortunately released at a bad time. So moving right along, number 9, I have the Sony Xperia XZ Premium. So this was released earlier in 2017. Why I have it above the LG is I think Sony phones are underrated for what they can provide. They have a lot of great experiences, and this had a phenomenal display, 4K display, which was a traditional, dual speaker setup with a big bezel on the top and the bottom. Other than that, it did have a headphone jack. It was water resistant, had a fingerprint sensor for non-US users. It was a good phone, had all the normal specs. I mean, all these phones that are Android have similar specs with the exception of one, which has its own proprietary stuff. Anyway, moving right along. Number 8, I have the iPhone X Duo, the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 8 Plus. And why I have them there is just, it is the same old, just redone. Obviously, every year the iPhone gets faster, it gets a little better, gets a little bit different battery, gets a little bit different camera setup. There was nothing wrong with the iPhone 8 pair, but it was just another iPhone. So number 7 I'm going to talk for a little bit about, and that was the Essential phone. So the Essential phone was released in early summer. It was a full screen display with a little notch at the top, similar to the iPhone Xs, but it was Android's first one with a notch, per se. I had ceramic and titanium body, which was excellent. The design philosophy of the device was out of this world. I love that part of it, being used such premium materials. What really happened with the Essential phone is it was delayed a ton. Essential wasn't as forthcoming as they should have been with delays in the process of things. They also weren't really great at customer support, and a couple scandals in between made for a phone that didn't have great support off the gate and was very expensive at $700. But now at $499, it's a great price point for such a great device, which has a okay camera now, a very premium build quality, and a lot of great things going for it. Number 6 is going to be the Samsung S8 pair. So these were the first phones alongside the LG G6 that had a full screen infinity display. And what that meant for Samsung was a near bezel-less dual curved edge with this whole 2 pieces of glass sandwich sort of design. And they really knocked it out of the park. There really was nothing wrong with these two devices. The displays were great, battery life was good, there was no scandals with it. It had a headphone jack. It was water resistant. Samsung cameras were really good in the S8 pair, and everything just got better. TouchWiz became a lot better, and it's now a Samsung Experience is what they call it. Everything just worked out very well. They sold great. They did great. There wasn't a whole lot of bad things to say about them. They were the first introduction for Android really into this bezel-less premium marketplace. Moving on to number 5, I actually have a newcomer, the Razer phone. So Razer acquired Nextbit this past year. Nextbit had the Nextbit Robin, which was a crowdfunded device based in cloud computing, which was far from a premium style phone. Razer, with their gaming prowess, kind of combined their efforts and they made the Razer phone, a gaming-centered smartphone running on Android, which had a Snapdragon 835, 4,000 milliamp hour battery, all the normal flagship specs with 120 hertz display, which is great for a refresh rate, and anyone who's into PC gaming understands that the higher the refresh rate, the more smooth your game looks. So this phone was really designed for a gamer in mind. Now, not many apps supported the 120 hertz right off the rip, but they are working with developers to help bring more games into 120 hertz and to make it look great. Where it kind of lacked is it definitely wasn't a 2017 design. It had big forehead and chin bezels, but it also housed dual front-facing speakers, which definitely sounded great for the money. And this phone came in at $700. Has an adequate camera. They are getting better. They just released the update, I believe, today, which today is the 20th. And it keeps getting better, and for the price point, I'm really excited for what Razer does next. Maybe they'll introduce 2 models of phone, one more gaming, one more sleek, like the Razer Blade Stealth and the Razer Blade Pro laptops. I would love to see that. That'd be really cool. But all around, I think it was a great first showing for Razer. I am looking forward to the future with them. At number 4, I have Huawei with their Mate 10 and Mate 10 Pro. So why they're at number 4? Well, they're still not big in the US. So I was reading an article saying that Huawei does plan on bringing their Mate 10 to AT&T in early 2018, which is great. I think Huawei should get a bigger presence here in the United States. But traditionally, they have been in China a lot, and Huawei is huge over there. But their devices are so underrated for what they do. I mean, these devices are powerhouses. They have huge batteries, great battery life, great screens, and they partner with Leica for their camera setups, which anyone who's in photography, Leica makes some great photography cameras, some great DSLR cameras that are very expensive. So their camera is great. They have an RGB and monochrome sensor, which combines to make a more detailed view. All around, you know, they're not very westernized as far as emotion UI. Their skin on top is very polarizing to people because it does look like iOS in a lot of ways with its square icons. You can check out my Huawei Mate 10 video if you want to see more about kind of the first look and what that screen actually looks like. But they use their own chipsets, they use their own GPUs, and really they are just all around amazing devices for what they do. The build quality is fantastic. They also do the glass sandwich style design similar to Samsung. They are unique, and the fingerprint sensor is out of this world. But regardless, they're underrated in the sense that people don't know about them and they don't get the credit where it deserves. So that's why that's number 4. Number 3, we have the OnePlus 5T. So OnePlus releases 2 phones a year usually. They have their first showing around April, May-ish, and then their next one towards November. And their 5T was really their step into this bezel-less display, which really, this should have been the phone they released back in the summer. It had the 18:9 aspect ratio, dual rear camera setup, which is different than the 5s, fingerprint sensor on the back, their own Face ID, and really the OnePlus 5T is a knockout at the $500 or $550 that you pay for it. For $500, I could not recommend a better phone for that money. I don't think there's any phone, with the only exception being the newly reduced Essential phone price, that I could recommend for $500 more than that. Dash charge is great. The design is great. There is no water resistance yet, but they do still have a headphone jack. So with Dash Charge, really you can't go wrong with the OnePlus 5T. It overall was a great device for OnePlus. They should have released it earlier, but by far it was their best showing yet, and I always look forward to what they're going to do next. So number 2 definitely was a tie. Now it was a tie for a couple reasons. The one device is the iPhone X. So the iPhone X, again, is a very polarizing device. Either people really liked it or they really didn't like it. I liked it when I had it. They took a real big risk, and I think that's what Apple's been known to be all about. And they haven't done it in a while, and I'm glad they did do it because they were feeling stale. It was feeling old, and it was like every year you get the new iPhone, it's just the same thing, same design, just a little different, not really worth it. The iPhone X came in, shook things up, and I'm glad it did. I look forward to see what Apple does with all their devices for as far as Macs and iPads. I'm sure they're going to adopt this new design language with the different gestures and all that different support with wireless charging now. Welcome to the Android world, Apple. But all kidding aside, the iPhone X is great. I do love Apple products. I love their design, their quality. And the iPhone X is no exception to that. Took great photos. I wish the charging was a little faster. I wish they gave you a quick charger. But again, just nitpicks in general about that. Nothing that you can't use by using a Mac charger or a different charger to help it along, or having a wireless charger that you have left over from an Android phone does work fine for the most part with the iPhone X. I love the iPhone X. That's why I gave it number 2. The other 2 were the Pixel 2 and the Pixel 2 XL. So they were all basically the same, both of those, besides the display and a little bit of the design. And that was really the only huge difference. They all had the same internals and probably the battery capacity. Pixel 2 being smaller and the XL being the larger one designed by LG. So it has a similar screen compared to the LG V30 with the rounded corners, full screen, sort of immersive display like that. Also had dual front-facing speakers. And honestly, the Pixel 2 XL has been by far my best Android experience as far as the operating system on any Android phone. Because Google controls a lot of it. They update it regularly every month with their security patches, and it already has 8.1, which no other Android device has. Some are on 8.0, but definitely not 8.1. I've used it the most out of any of my Android phones so far, and I can't say a lot of bad things about it. My nitpicks about it would be Google really shouldn't have released it having some of the issues that they're having, especially with screen burn-in. I can forgive the blue tint because if you're looking at your phone, if this is boxed as my phone and you're looking at it like that, I don't expect you to see it really clearly. But screen burn-in should definitely not happen that quickly, as well as audio issues, Bluetooth issues. And again, they all got fixed with software, but it shouldn't be there in the first place to fix, right? Like, any improvements are definitely welcome, but it shouldn't be a problem right off the rip. Other than that, the Pixel 2 XL is fantastic. It's smooth, it's fast, there's no problems. Charges fast. I wish they didn't use like the painted metal on the back. I wish they used just an anodized aluminum like iPhone or OnePlus did with the black, just because it wouldn't scratch off. But again, super nitpicky. It hasn't scratched off on me yet. So it's really not a huge deal, but just something I would have changed. So my number 1 device. So the number 1 device is Samsung's Note 8. And I give it to the Note 8 for a bunch of reasons. So it by far has the best Android display I've seen this year. The cameras that they did, the dual camera setup this year, for the first time, works out really well with their wide, or telephoto lens, not wide aperture. Telephoto lens gives you the bokeh effect, and you can adjust it based on your subject and after you take the photo. It takes great shots. It's not up there as the Pixel 2 as far as the photo benchmark, but they're fantastic nonetheless. Great low light, some real good rich colors that Samsung cameras have always done. The design, it's a little squarer than the S8s, which I like personally. The glass sandwich does look amazing. I have the blue color, and the blue looks really deep. It looks like you can look right into it. The display is fine. You know, Samsung's experience has become a lot better since they've gotten rid of the old TouchWiz mantra and went with this new Samsung experience sort of idea. It's a lot faster, a lot better, a lot less laggy than it used to be. I do hope Samsung updates it regularly, and I really give it the number 1 spot because after the Note 7 debacle, I I didn't know what was going to happen with the Note lineup. Were they just going to abandon it and put all their money onto the bigger S8? People didn't know after February of last year, but they came back with a vengeance, with a great product that a lot of people recommend. Shoots great slow-mo, it shoots great video and photos. All around, it's a great phone right now. And it's going to even get better as sales continue to happen after the first of the year, as the S9s come out, which there's not supposed to be too much different, so you might be able to grab one of last year's for a good price. And all around, the stylus is fun to use. I didn't buy it for the stylus, but it is nice. It is IP68. You still got a headphone jack, USB-C, iris scanning if you're into that sort of thing, heart rate sensor and all that. Again, if you're into that sort of thing, I wish the fingerprint sensor was in a normal location. That would have been nice, like the Google Pixel or the OnePlus, just right below the dual cameras, center the cameras, put it right underneath it. That'd be cool. Maybe they'll do that this coming year. But other than that, I don't have many bad things to say about it. Bixby hopefully gets better. I don't use Bixby almost at all because Google Assistant is just so much more fluid and so much more intuitive. Bixby just kind of is a passing thought. But again, it's there for people who do want to use it. It's there for people who know how to use it. Samsung DeX is there for people who want to use it. There's a lot of features in this phone. They all work very well. And really, that's why I give it the #1 spot. It is the best Samsung smartphone to date, and it is honestly one of my favorites for this year, if not my overall favorite, right up with a close second of the Pixel 2 XL. So anyway, guys, that's my video. This might be my last video you see before the first of the year. I hope you guys have a happy holidays. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas, and be safe, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you have anything that you want to see me review, talk about, touch upon, please put it in the comments. I'm always looking for suggestions. And I will see you in the next video. See ya.